To calm myself down, I decide to practice meditation. I focus on my feet, and immediately I realize I am dreaming. Trigger for awareness, vipassana to relax and deactivate an emotion that disturbs me. Concentration on the soles of the feet, how everything was converging. For the second time, awareness had arrived while meditating. An important fact, how could I not distinguish the difference in sensations when it came to different bodies? Moreover, the physical body had no pressure on the soles of the feet, since it was not vertical while sleeping. This time, awareness had been more of a calm assuming of knowing rather than a realization. It had been more of a decision, which had made it easier for me to be free from the influence of strong emotions. Or perhaps for another reason, which I will mention a few paragraphs down. I ventured a phrase resulting from the reformulation of what was proposed. A calm assuming of knowing flows with the facilitation of a decision. A bit more, a gentle decision, adopted by the advent of its own facilitation, rather than by a strenuous volitional act, is very similar to a calm assuming of knowing, and both phenomena approach each other until they turn out to be the same. Finally, the decision was so gentle that it no longer seemed like a decision, and the assuming of knowing was so calm that it lacked the abrupt suddenness of the aha moment. In other words, much of what was happening had already happened. Responsibility constituted the union between deciding and realizing, in the form, deciding to realize, and also realizing to decide. Realizing was not neutral. It necessarily involved a selection regarding its object, or at least a certain direction of consciousness. For the realization to be more lucid, it had to be aware of that intrinsic decision, which, to be permanent, had to overcome its blind spots, its intermittency. For its part, the decision, to remain permanently activated had to be attentive, tend to realize. If a decision was not aware, it could evade its responsibility by saying, I did not know what I was deciding. If a realization did not decide, it could evade its responsibility by saying that what it realized was given to it from the outside. However, with responsibility, something like I realized such a thing, and I'm going to explain why, I'm going to substantiate it would be said. And it would also say, I decided such a thing knowingly. A decision that listened and a listening that decided merged into a concept, for which the most suitable term was responsibility. Until then, I had called the gateway to lucid dreaming as awareness, and as such, I had pursued it, but I had deviated. It was like reading the same notes over and over again and wanting to ace an exam with just that. Something was missing. It was like when people said, I do everything I can, but I don't get results. The same thing happened with too much intellectualization. One would analyze and analyze a problem, but the problem remained. It was necessary to make a decision and act. What would it be like to work on the path to lucid dreaming from the pole of decision? In addition to performing reality checks, identifying dream signs and recurrent dream situations, remembering and writing down all my dreams, actions that were all on the side of becoming aware, introducing actions that responded to deciding. Training the decision. In terms of castaneda, perhaps, strengthening the intent. For example, when I got up, although it seemed an optimal path to me, I seldom ended up deciding to meditate. That decision wavered, and then I felt guilty. But I distracted myself from that guilt and kept it at bay by noting my dream, performing counting when changing environments, recognizing recurrent dream situations while awake, etc. All of that was very well, but I didn't meditate, even though that was my will. As long as that was the case, I also wouldn't plunge into a lucid dream, nor would I reach such a state of consciousness through direct passage. Lucid dreaming would be as occasional as sitting down to meditate.